cost of living. A comparison between 1955 and 2025. Introduction. Setting the economic stage. 1955 and 2025. This report examines the cost of living in the United States, comparing the economic landscape of 1955 with that of 2025. Understanding the financial realities faced by American households across these two distinct periods, separated by 7 decades of significant social, technological, and economic change, offers valuable perspective on the evolution of affordability and the challenges encountered by individuals and families in meeting their fundamental needs. The year 1955 represents a period of relative economic stability and growth in the aftermath of World War II, characterized by a burgeoning middle class and the rise of suburban living. In contrast, 2025 reflects an era shaped by rapid technological advancements, increased globalization, and a complex economic environment with its own set of opportunities and challenges. This analysis will delve into key expenditure categories, including income, housing, groceries, transportation, healthcare, and clothing, to provide a comprehensive comparison of the financial burdens and standards of living in these two pivotal years. Income levels, the earning power of households, median income and purchasing power. To gain a clearer understanding of the change in real earning power for the lowest paid workers, it is necessary to adjust the 1955 minimum wage for inflation to $2025. The federal minimum wage in 1955 was 75 cents per hour, adjusted to $8.87, yielding $1,560 per year, adjusted to $13,975 for full-time work. In 2025, the federal minimum remains $7.25 per hour, $15,080 annually, though states like California, $16.50 per hour, and New York $15 per hour mandate higher wages. Adjusted for inflation, today's federal minimum wage offers 14% less purchasing power than its 1955 counterpart. For individuals, the 1955 median income for men was $3,400, $40,298 adjusted, and $1,100, $13,035 adjusted for women. In 2025, median earnings for full-time workers are $62,350 men and $57,000 women. This comparison suggests that, at the federal level, the real earning power for minimum wage earners may not have seen a substantial increase over these 7 decades. However, the existence of significantly higher state-level minimum wages in 2025, such as in California. This disparity underscores the importance of considering regional variations when analyzing changes in the cost of living and income. B. Median household income, tracking the average earning capacity. In 1955, the average and median money income for families in the United States was estimated at $4,400. Data from the Bureau of the Census also reported a median income of $3,400 for men and $1,100 for women during the same year. Another source from the Census Bureau provided a slightly higher median family income figure of $4,418 for 1955. The consistency of the median family income around $4,400 across multiple reports from the Census Bureau provides a reliable benchmark for understanding the average earning capacity of households in that era. The difference between the median family income and the median incomes for men and women likely reflects the prevalent household structure of the time, where many families may have relied on income from multiple individuals, even if one income was significantly higher than the others. The lower median income for women in 1955 reflects the societal norms and employment patterns during that period. To understand how the average earning capacity of households has changed over time, it is necessary to compare the 1955 median household income with that of 2025. While official data for 2025 is not yet available, information from the U.S. Census Bureau indicates that the median household income in 2023 was approximately $74,580. Assuming a continued upward trend, a reasonable estimate for the median household income in 2025 could be around $82,300. However, to assess the real change in purchasing power, the 1955 median income needs to be adjusted for inflation to $2025. Using an inflation calculator based on data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 1955, the median family income was $4,418 annually, $51,900 adjusted. By comparison, the 2025 median household income is projected at $82,300. While nominal incomes have risen by 1,763%, inflation-adjusted gains show a more modest 58% increase in purchasing power over 70 years. This indicates that, on average, households in 2025 have significantly more income in today's dollars than their counterparts in 1955, allowing for potentially greater purchasing power, although this must be considered in conjunction with changes in the real costs of goods and services. Third, housing costs, the price of shelter. A. Average cost of a new house, a widening gap. The average new home cost $10,950 in 1955, $114,000 adjusted, compared to $436,800 in 2025, while home sizes have nearly doubled, 983 square feet in 1955 versus 2,273 square feet in 2025. The price per square foot has surged from $11.13 to $192. Mortgage burden. In 1955, a median income family would spend 17% of their income on a 30-year mortgage for an average home. By 2025, this figure rises to 34%, even with lower modern interest rates. Comparing the inflation-adjusted cost of a new house in 1955, $123,200 in 2025 dollars, with the actual average cost in 2025, $436,800, reveals a significant increase in the real price of housing. The cost has risen by over 250%, indicating that the price of housing has outpaced overall inflation by a considerable margin during this period. This growing disparity has profound implications for the affordability of home ownership in 2025 compared to 1955, suggesting that a much larger portion of household income is required to purchase a new home today than it did in the mid-1950s. Fourth, grocery costs, the expense of sustenance. In 1955, the average monthly grocery cost for one person was approximately $12 to $15. When adjusted for inflation to 2025 dollars, this range becomes roughly $135 to $169 per month. As of 2025, the average monthly grocery cost for one person ranges from $239 to $529, with a moderate budget estimated at around $445 for men and $385 for women. Comparing the inflation-adjusted grocery costs from 1955 with the actual costs in 2025 indicates a real increase in the expense of sustenance. While the lower end of the 2025 range, $239s, is higher than the upper end of the adjusted 1955 range, $169s. The average and moderate budget figures for 2025 are significantly higher. This suggests that the real cost of groceries has increased, particularly when considering a more comprehensive or varied diet. This rise in food expenses could be attributed to several factors, including changes in dietary habits, the increased availability of diverse and potentially more expensive food options, the complexities of modern food supply chains, and evolving agricultural practices. Category: 1955 price adjusted. 2025 price percent change adjusted. Milk 1 gallon $2.30 versus the $4.20, plus off 83%. Bread 1 loaf 90 cents versus $3.50, plus 289%. Eggs 1 dozen $1.60 versus $2.90, plus 81%. Monthly groceries $135 to $170, $385 to $529, plus 185%. Sources: BLS Consumer Expenditure. Surveys 1955, USDA 2025. Food costs have outpaced inflation due to supply chain complexities, organic trends, and labor-intensive production. Notably, processed foods, e.g., frozen dinners, were rare in the 1950s, but now dominate 70% of grocery budgets. V. Transportation costs, the price of mobility. A new car averaged $2,000 in 1955, $22,000 adjusted, versus $48,000 in 2025. While cars today are safer and more efficient, affordability has declined. 1955, 19 weeks of median income to buy a car. 2025, 58 weeks of median income required. prices for specific models varied. For instance, a Chevrolet Bel Air cost $1,987, approximately $22,500 in 2025 dollars, and a Studebaker was $1,885, approximately $21,200 in 2025 dollars. 2025 dollars. Higher-end models like a Buick two-door sedan cost $2,395, approximately $26,900 in 2025 dollars, and a Dodge six-passenger sedan was priced at $2,183, approximately $24,500 in 2025 dollars. The average price for gasoline in 1955 was approximately 29 cents per gallon, which, when adjusted for inflation, is about $3.25 per gallon in 2025 dollars, compared to $4.50 per gallon in 2025 dollars. 2025. Public transportation in 1955 offered affordable options. In New York City, the subway fare was 15 cents 10, equivalent to about $1.68 in 2025 dollars. In Montgomery, Alabama, bus fare was even lower at 10 cents 11, or about $1.12 in 2025 dollars. For longer distances, a cross-country bus trip from Los Angeles to New York cost $56.70 in 1913, which is approximately $637 in 2025 dollars. The real cost of a new car in 2025 is higher than the inflation-adjusted average of $22,000 adjusted in 1955, suggesting a moderate real increase in the price of vehicles. However, modern cars come equipped with significantly more features and advanced safety technologies, which contributes to the higher cost. The real price of gasoline in 2025-14 is comparable to the inflation-adjusted price of $3.25 per gallon in 1955, indicating that the cost of fuel relative to overall prices has remained relatively stable. In contrast, public transportation fares in major cities in 2025-15 are notably higher than the inflation-adjusted fares of 1955, suggesting a real increase in the cost of public transit. B. Overview of transportation costs in 2025. The overall cost of transportation in 2025 encompasses vehicle purchase, new or used, insurance, maintenance, fuel, and public transit fares. In nominal terms, the expenses associated with transportation are considerably higher than in 1955. Sixth, healthcare costs, the evolution of medical expenses. The average private expenditure for medical care per person in 1955 was approximately $67 and $64.52. When adjusted for inflation to 2025 dollars, this amount is roughly equivalent to $750. This figure stands in stark contrast to the real per capita healthcare expenditure in 2025, which amounts to thousands of dollars annually, demonstrating a substantial increase in the cost of healthcare relative to overall prices. An example of hospital costs in 1955 is a bill for a 3-night stay for childbirth, which amounted to around $60.23. In 2025 dollars, this is approximately $675. This inflation-adjusted cost is dramatically lower than the typical cost of a similar hospital stay in 2025, which can easily reach tens of thousands of dollars. In 1955, while approximately 60% of Americans had some form of health insurance, the total amount spent on health insurance premiums was $3.2 billion. With a U.S. population of around 166 million in 1955, the average per-person expenditure on health insurance was about $19 per year. In 2025 dollars, this is roughly equivalent to $213 per year. Some early health insurance plans offered very low premiums, such as the Baylor plan, which provided 21 days of hospital care for 50 cents per month, or $6 annually, about $63 in 2025 dollars. While health insurance was prevalent in 1955, it covered a smaller portion of the population compared to today, and the scope of benefits likely differed. The real cost of health insurance on average was considerably lower, although coverage was not universal. Service, 1955. Cost, adjusted. 2025, cost. Percent change, hospital stay, day, $560 versus $3,500, plus 525%. Doctor's visit, $45 versus $250, plus 455%. Prescription drugs, $18 versus $60, plus 233%. Sources, JAMA 1955, Kaiser Family Foundation, 2025. Healthcare now consumes 20% of median household income versus 5% in 1955. Factors include advanced treatments, administrative costs, and pharmaceutical R&D. 8th, affordability. Analysis comparing income and expenses in 1955. Category: estimated annual cost, 1955. Percentage of median income, $4,400. Groceries, $600, assuming $12.50 per month per person, 13.64%. Transportation, $900, estimated car ownership was not universal, 12%. Healthcare, $276, assuming $69 per person, 6.27%. Total estimated costs, $1,776, 31.91%, not including mortgage or rent cost. Based on the price of a new house, housing would make up an additional 25% of income, making total estimated costs with a new house at 56.91% of income versus about 84% today. Affordability ratios. Category: 1955% of income, 2025% of income. Housing, 25% versus 30%. Healthcare, 6.27% versus 20%. Transportation, 12% versus 18%. Food, 13.64% versus 12%. Note, percentages reflect spending by median income households. Additional costs. This also does not include clothing, since that's highly subjective, but many costs have risen as well. For instance, men's suit, $280 versus $450, plus 61%. Jeans, $34 versus $50, plus 47%, while fast fashion has lowered others. Education and childcare, 7.1. Tuition and fees. Public college tuition averaged $300 per year, $3,300 adjusted, in 1955 versus $11,500 per year in 2025. Private colleges surged from $1,000, $11,750 adjusted, to $35,000 per year. 7.2. Childcare costs. Full-time childcare costs $600 per year, $6,600 adjusted. In 1955, far below today's $15,000 per year average. 9th, comparative analysis. The shifting landscape of affordability. A. Inflation-adjusted costs. A look at real price changes. A direct comparison of inflation-adjusted costs reveals significant shifts in the real prices of essential goods and services between 1955 and 2025. The real cost of housing has seen a dramatic increase, with the 1955 average new house price of $10,950, equivalent to $123,200 in 2025 dollars, being significantly lower than the 2025 average of $436,800. Grocery costs have also risen in real terms, with the 1955 monthly per-person cost of $12 to $15 adjusted to $135 to $169 in 2025 dollars, being lower than the 2025 range of $239 to $529. The average cost of a new car has experienced a moderate real increase, from an inflation-adjusted $33,700 in 2025, $1,955 to around $48,000 in 2025. Interestingly, the real price of gasoline has remained relatively stable, with 29 cents per gallon in 1955, adjusted to $3.25 in 2025 dollars, being comparable to the $3.50 to $4 per gallon seen in 2025. Healthcare has witnessed the most substantial real increase, with the 1955 per capita annual expenditure of $67, adjusted to $750 in 2025 dollars, being dwarfed by the thousands of dollars spent per person annually in 2025. Clothing costs, while variable, appear to be comparable or slightly higher in 2025 for similar quality, when compared to the estimated inflation-adjusted figures from 1955, $200 to $300 per person annually. B. Income changes. Has income kept pace? The median household income has seen a real increase between 1955 and 2025. The 1955 median income of $4,400, when adjusted for inflation, is approximately $49,600 in 2025 dollars. This compares to an estimated median household income of $80,000 in 2025, representing a real increase of about 61%. While this increase in real income is significant, it is crucial to compare it with the changes in the real costs of essential goods and services. The real costs of housing and healthcare, in particular, have increased at a much faster rate than the growth in median household income. For example, the real cost of housing has increased by over 250%, and the real cost of healthcare has seen an even more dramatic rise, while real income has only increased by 61%. This disparity suggests that, despite having higher average incomes in 2025, households may find it more challenging to afford housing and healthcare compared to their counterparts in 1955. Conclusion: the evolving economics of everyday life. The comparison of the cost of living between 1955 and 2025 reveals a complex picture of economic transformation. While median household incomes have indeed risen in real terms over these 7 decades, the cost of certain essential goods and services, most notably housing and healthcare, has increased at a disproportionately higher rate. This divergence suggests that despite an overall increase in average earning capacity, the affordability of fundamental needs like shelter and medical care may be more challenging for the average American household in 2025 compared to 1955. The real cost of groceries and transportation has seen more moderate increases, with gasoline prices remaining relatively stable in real terms. Clothing costs appear to be broadly comparable across the 2 periods when adjusted for inflation. The affordability analysis for 1955 further underscores the financial pressures faced by families at that time, with the total estimated cost of basic necessities exceeding the median household income. The significant increase in the real cost of housing and healthcare in 2025 relative to the growth in real income indicates a fundamental shift in the economic landscape, with these 2 sectors consuming a larger share of household budgets today than they did in the mid-1950s. This evolution reflects the complex interplay of economic growth, inflation, technological advancements, and societal changes that have shaped the cost of living and the financial well-being of individuals and families in the United States over the past 7 decades.